G'day Sports by Fry fans, thank you for tuning in to another Fry's Fast 5. My name is Fry and I'm here a few days away from a brand new AFL season. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's looking forward to the 2019 footy year, but after a long hiatus, it's almost here. So that means from an AFL Fantasy perspective, it's time to finalise your teams. If you haven't done so already, make sure you join the Sports by Fry League. I think from memory, there's about 62 people in there at the moment, something around that line. I just fired out a tweet and a Facebook post just asking for any questions. I'm going to do a podcast tomorrow night just on some final questions people have before the 2019 fantasy season kicks off. It's nearly here. A lot of the pre-season research and team selections that we've done is we're about to see if it pays off. Fingers crossed that one early hiccup doesn't cost us a chance at a car, but there's a long season to go. So if things look pear-shaped early, don't give up hope. There is 23 rounds of fantasy footy, so you can easily claw your way back to the top. For fantasy footy, you need to make sure that you hit on your cash cows and your rookie picks. My big rookie guide for all the youngsters out there can be found on the Dream Team Talk site now. Published that late on Sunday, so it's been getting a bit of airtime over Twitter. Make sure you give it a read. Things will obviously change a bit throughout the year as to who I think are going to be the best rooks, but I'm going to do a weekly update with those boys, the DT Talk boys that is, just to kind of talk about really the relevant rookies. Now, if you hear someone in the mix that I, maybe haven't spoken a lot about, then feel free to hit me up and ask any questions, but I'm going to try and stay pretty across the board and cover them in decent depth. One guy who I actually forgot to mention in my rookie guide was Bailey Smith from the Bulldogs, who's been mentioned and confirmed as a starter. He's going to make his AFL debut this weekend. And that kind of ties into the next part that I want to talk in this video pod. I'm not going to pump out a big AFL season predictions. I started to do it and I kind of just got tongue-tied and found that I was just waffling with a lot of things. But I am going to go on record and make a few picks. So the Bulldogs, I think, are going to be the team that's going to fall a bit this year. I don't really know who's going to kick all their goals. Josh Shackey, I'm sure, is going to be a good player in the future, but they're talking about pushing Toby McLean forward to try and find another avenue to scoring. So while their midfield might look fantastic, I think the Dogs are the team that's going to decline. And I might even pick them to win, in inverted commas, the wooden spoon this year. I am going to do a couple of bold predictions and post that before the season begins. And one of them might be that the Dogs will win the spoon or lose the spoon, however you look at it. Team on the rise, got to be the Lions. I know it's a sexy, trendy pick, but I'm sticking with it because I believe it. The Premiers, I think, is going to be Melbourne. Now, a lot of people are riding the Demons train right now, and it could just derail slightly. This is kind of dependent on Jake Lever coming back from injury, because if he's healthy and they have most of their guys, then I think they're going to be hard to stop. Don't sleep on the Eagles, though. Since the grand final day last year, I've been really in on them, and I'll probably put a bit of a punt on them right now, and the D's to win the flag. And the Brownlow, one of my other bold predictions, I think we're going to have a tie. I think Paddy Cripps and Patrick Dangerfield are going to tie to win the 2019 Brownlow. If I had to pick one, I'm probably leaning towards Cripps, but let's be honest, both of those guys are pretty favourite. If I had to take a chance on a Smokey or someone, I don't know, a little less popular, I'd probably pick Clayton Oliver. A lot of buzz around Gus Brayshaw, but I like Clayton Oliver as a bit of a smoky. Before I go, I want to quickly talk a little bit about the NCAA Tournament. I'm going to post an article tomorrow about the teams that you need to watch in the tournament. Haven't been as up to date with all my college basketball coverage this year because obviously when I was in Canada, it was on at a time where I was watching a lot of the basketball, but this year games have been on early in the morning and pushing into the later morning. So I haven't caught as much, but I'm well educated on the tournament. It's going to be a pretty good year. I think we're in for a pretty standard season. I don't think there's going to be a hell of a lot of upsets. I think that there's a big gap between the top 8 and the rest of the field. So for that reason, when I made my bracket, I picked a lot of the 1 and 2 seeds to advance. I, at the moment, have Gonzaga and Duke playing in one of the final 4 matchups, with the Duke Blue Devils winning that. I think they're going to be a pretty popular pick and a team hard to stop, especially if Zion's up and running. On the other side of the bracket, I got Tennessee versus the North Carolina Tar Heels. Again, 2 1 and 2 seeds. I think Tennessee is a 2 seed. If they get past Virginia in the South region, then I think they're money. I'm picking the Volunteers to beat North Carolina, and then I'm picking them to beat Duke in the national championship game. That's all I got time for. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit me up with your fantasy questions before lockout. Until next time, peace.